بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على خير الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبي إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. Distinguished guests, dear brothers and sisters, dear viewers at home, and of course the dear children at home watching this show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Verses of Love, the mini Husaini edition. This is episode 8, where we are commemorating the martyrdom of Al-Qassim, the son of Imam Al-Hassan alayhi salam. We're going to learn more about his life, insight into what we can learn not only from his life but also from his death, and how you, the dear viewers, the dear youth at home watching the show, what lessons can you learn to be like Al-Qassim alayhi salam. So joining us on the show to be able to commemorate this I would say man, but actually this young adult, this boy who was very innocent on the day of Ashura. On my immediate left, Sayhan Jetta, who is the poet of Verses of Love. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Once again, we have Murtaza Akbar Ali joining us as well. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. And of course, we have Hussein TV, the lecturer for Verses of Love. Assalamu alaikum. So as ever, in every single episode, I ask you a question. And today, we are commemorating Al-Qassim, the son of Imam Al-Hassan alayhi salam. You may have come across him in your majalis. Some cultures take Al-Qassim very, very big, and there are certain things that we do to commemorate Al-Qassim, and in some cultures maybe not so much. But I wanted to ask you, so that for the benefit of the viewers, and again for the viewers at home and the children, this question applies to you as well. What is one thing that you have learnt about Al-Qassim, son of Imam Al-Hassan's life?
So, I think the most important thing I have learned from Hazrat Qasim's life is that when you have a choice to make, you don't go yes, but that, but no, but that. You should just choose something and just go ahead.
Wow. Okay. Fantastic. Murtaza?
I've learned that at such a young age, he sacrificed his life for Islam.
Fantastic. Beautiful answer. And Hussein, just one thing.
One thing.
Without looking at your notes, because obviously you're the lecturer, but one thing that you've learned. Actually, I want to change it up for you. One thing that you see in the Husainiyah that reminds you of Al-Qassim, and why?
Of course, the one thing that, alhamdulillah, I was blessed was last year I was allowed to be Shabih Al-Qassim.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was very beautiful. It's like everybody's in their white shirts, and there's Qubbat Al-Qassim.
Yeah.
For the people who don't know what that is, it's like the dome, but it's like portable, if you want to say it, and they put it on their head, and they move and everything. And there's some kids with trays of chocolates and sweets on
right?
it, on their head and everything. And you have Qassim, very beautiful. It's supposed to be his wedding day, but he's in his war clothes and everything. And it's very beautiful.
Right. So for those of you, especially for the young viewers who are watching, and you might be wondering, why is there a tray of sweets and why is there henna? This is supposed to be a majlis, right? It's supposed to be a sad occasion. Why do we see sweets and all this? It looks like it's a happy occasion, because sometimes people also give out flowers as well. But it's because Al-Qassim, son of Imam Al-Hassan alayhi salam, it's narrated he was around 13, 14 years old. And at that age, 13, 14 means you're in the right age of marriage. So I don't, in terms of the narrations, it's very unclear whether Al-Qassim was actually married or was about to get married. The whole point is that he is at the age of marriage. So his mother, Ramla, says that, I wish to see you as a groom, as someone who's going to be completing his religion, living with and marrying someone for the rest of their life. But unfortunately, I see you in your war clothes, ready for battle. So that's one thing that we can learn from what we see, especially because you at your age going to these majalis, there's a lot of questions that you might have. Why is there people walking out wearing white dishtashas? Why are there people with war drums, right? All of these are reenactments of what happened to Al-Qassim, son of Imam Al-Hassan alayhi salam, on the day of Ashura, right? So look, just a very, very brief insight into what his life is, or in terms of who he is. Now, Al-Qasim is the son of Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba, the brother of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So it's almost like he represented Imam al-Hasan in the day of Ashura. It wasn't just him, there was a number of other brothers, sons of Imam al-Hasan that were present. There's one line that was very special to Al-Qasim. And many, if not all, of the men and the young boys associated with Karbala, they all had one line that resonated with everyone, right? Al-Qasim alayhi salam, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam asked him, we are going on the way towards death, really. There's nothing for us but victory and salvation. But then he asked him, young Qasim, my son almost, how do you view death? When someone says death to you, how do you view it? How do you define it? And the words that Al-Qasim alayhi salam said in those days has now reached us in this day, so that our young children can benefit from that. And he said, death to me is sweeter than honey. How amazing is that? How did he think of that analogy, that example at that young age? He thought, I know that honey is sweet. And the way he sees death is that I see it as sweet. I don't see it as something bad. Who mentioned that? I think in one of the previous episodes, I think you mentioned that, yeah, look, death is bad, but there's a greater plan. And in Al-Qasim's eyes, death is sweet to him. He doesn't care if he dies because he is on the right path. He's chosen, as you mentioned just now, the lesson that we can learn is that he's not confused about his decision. He knows exactly what he wants to do, how he's going to do it. And to him, it's sweeter than honey. So joining us now, Hussein is going to be talking about the insights that we can gain from his life and his martyrdom. Tell us about how Al-Qasim is an inspiration.
Well, for me, Qassim al-Hasan is a big inspiration, and he should be for all youth. But maybe because I am similar to the age as him, I find this in a typical way, which I'm going to mention. But as you know, us boys, we go through a teenage phase where we put away our faith and piety to aside and put forward our needs. But when that comes to Qassim al-Hasan, he does not know what needs are. All he knows is piety and faith. And that's how you said when his uncle said, "Oh Qassim, how do you view death?" Qassim replied, "Death for you is sweeter than honey." Just a question to a 13-year-old boy about death. He would be scared about death. You wouldn't want to talk about death. Some might want to run away from death. But Qassim tells Imam al-Hussein that dying for you is sweeter than honey. So on the 10th of Muharram, when Qassim alayhi salam went to Imam al-Hussein asking permission to fight, of course he's not going to allow him to fight, as he was only 13, but he was 3 when his father passed away. What does that generally mean? It means that since Qassim opened his eyes, he saw no one but his uncle Hussein. It's like sending your own child to go fight and know that they're going to be killed. You wouldn't want to do that. But Qassim ibn al-Hasan knew how to get to his uncle. And narration mentioned that قَبَّلَ يَدَا عَمِّهِ الْحُسَيْنِ. He then started to kiss the hands of al-Hussein. Qassim begs his uncle to enter the battlefield, but he still refuses. فَوَقَعَ الْغُلَامُ عَلَى رَجْلِ عَمِّهِ يُقَبِّلُهُمَا. He then fell to the ground, kissing his uncle's feet, asking for permission. Look at this young boy Al-Qasim. Look at his age, and look at his akhlaq, kindness and humbleness. He has so much to experience. He has so much to learn. He has a whole life ahead of him. But he still wants to go and fight in the sake of Allah. And Qassim, he died at the age of 13. So when something happens, you don't say, "No, I'm too young, I'm just 13. Just remember that Qassim died in the way of Allah at the age of 13.
So I just wanted to now move on to Seyhan. I believe that you have a poem for Hazrat Qassim before we go back to Hussein again.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Hazrat Qassim, the son of Hassan al-Mujtaba, his representative on the day of Ashura. Qassim, magnificent, so brave and valiant, determination like no other to fight for his father's brother. It may have been Hussein's life at stake, but it was Qassim's decision to make. To fight or not to fight was the question. But Qassim said without any hesitation, "Death is sweeter to me than honey," and made fighting for Hussein his destiny. After having said farewell to his uncle Hussein ibn Ali, he went into battle reciting poetry. You will have to go through me first if Hussein you want to kill. Defend him with all my strength, I will. I am the son of Hassan al-Mujtaba. O Lord, give me strength to fight the enemies of the grandson of Rasulullah. He killed all who came near. The soldiers' confidence was quickly turning to fear. This boy was of a rare courage, that was clear, giving fighting lessons to men much more advanced in their career. But suddenly, his sandal was torn by something as sharp as a thorn. As Qassim bent over to fix it, a soldier took his chance to hit the poor boy on his head. A lot of his blood was shed. He called out, "Uncle Hussein!" his voice breaking because of the pain. But when Hussein arrived, it was too late. His beloved nephew had suffered his fate. The woman cried all their tears on the body of this young man full of maturity. What courage, what bravery lies in the story of Qassim, the grandson of Ali. Do not be scared to fight for your religion. Do not wait to take a decision, because fear does not lead to the best, nor does it lead to anything good in this life, which is a test. صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This life is very much a test, as Seyhan Jetta so eloquently put it. Many thanks, Seyhan. But it's this test that we have to try and pass. And as you mentioned, Hussein, in the previous part of your lecture, as teenagers, sometimes we lose sight of what's right and what's wrong, and often we let our desires guide us. But sometimes we have to try and find that strength that Qassim had to say, you know what, he could have easily just backed down and said, "Mom, I can't do this. Mom, it's too scary." And his mother, would have been a bit upset, but you would have understood that he said, "You know what, this is a war. There's blood and there's pain and there's swords and there's spears and there's grown men." But he said, "You know what, this is a test, and I'm going to pass this test by using my brain and using my heart to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." Fantastic stuff. Thank you, Seyhan. Hussein, I think there's more of an important issue, and based on Al-Qasim alayhi salam's life, in terms of raising our youth in our communities to be like Qasim, what are the things that he showed us?
See, Al-Qasim alayhi salam shows us taqwa and yaqeen. He has so much faith that what the Imam said, That's generally it. You put everything aside, just how you said. My Imam says something, okay, I need to do this. And obviously, it's a lot easier said than done. Al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan shows us everything that we really need. Because if the Imam of your time says something, that's it. Khalas, it's really done. And obviously, it's a lot easier said than done. But what we need to know is what we would have done in Karbala. Some would say, yes, of course, I would have fought, as that's the natural answer. I would go and defend the Imam of our time.
Yeah.
But really, if you see the reality, it's really scary, as you're going to fight death. Yeah. And as you know, once you're dead, you're dead. But Qassim was not scared. He came with full courage, just like his grandfather Ali, and he said, I will fight for my uncle Hussein. Al-Qasim comes out into the battlefield with so much bravery, and he wanted to tell the people who he was. As he says, إِن تَنْكُرُونِي فَأَنَا نَجْلُ الْحَسَنِ. If you do not know who I am the son of Al-Hasan. He wants to make it clear to everyone who he is. صُبْتُ النَّبِيُّ الْمُصْطَفَى وَالْمُؤْتَمَنِ. That I am the grandson of who? The grandson of Rasulullah. These lines really do break my heart. هذا حسين كالأسير المرتهن. Do you know what my uncle Hussein is? He's like a prisoner among you people. بين أناس لا سقوا صوب المزن. We are among the most evil and most treacherous people. Al-Qasim alayhi salam went into the battlefield, and you'd think that Imam al-Hasan has came back to life through this boy and entered the battlefield. If you want to become one of the Ansar of Imam al-Mahdi, follow in the footsteps of Al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan, as he teaches us youth exactly what to do. Qasim ibn al-Hasan is fighting bravery just like the warrior he is, killing so many of the enemies that one of the enemy states, I'm going to go kill that young boy. You know, my man said, why are you going to kill this boy? Look how beautiful he is. The man said, no, I am going to kill this boy. And it was at that moment when Qasim ibn al-Hasan's left sandal gets torn off. So Qasim bends down so he can mend it. And it was at that time a La'in ibn al-La'in came and got his opportunity to strike and kill Qasim ibn al-Hasan. But as Qasim ibn al-Hasan is fixing his sandal, the enemy attacks him, striking his sword on his head. Qasim falls off his horse saying, Amma, alayka minni salam. This is my father Imam al-Hasan sending you his salam. And this is my grandfather Ali giving me a drink of water. Imam Hussein rushes to Qasim ibn al-Hasan, killing his murderer, and he threw himself onto the ground and said, Oh Qasim, it is difficult for your uncle to see you in this state, where I cannot really help you as much, Ya Qasim. Then he carries Al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan back to the tents. He puts him next to the body of Ali al-Akbar. He sits down in the middle, looks to one side. This is his son Ali al-Akbar, killed in front of his eyes. And this is Qasim ibn al-Hasan. He looks at him and said, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Then Imam al-Hussein has left the tents. He went to look at someone. He's looking for someone. Who is he looking for? He's looking for his mother. His mother asks, Oh Aba Abdullah, where is my son? He takes her to her son Qasim ibn al-Hasan. She throws herself onto the body. She says, Oh son Qasim, I would always imagine you burying me, not me burying you. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Murtada, I believe that you have a marthi again in regards to Al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan. Bismillah.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
हाय हाय कासिम हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम हाय कासिम कभी इस टुकड़े पर हाय कासिम کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر ہے قاسم کبھی صحرا دیکھ کے روتی تھی کبھی گش کھا کے گر جاتی تھی کبھی صحرا دیکھ کے روتی تھی کبھی گش کھا کے گر جاتی تھی پامال ہوا تھا بائی جہاں پامال ہوا تھا بائی جہاں اس خون پہ گر کر ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر ہے قاسم فروان کہا بیٹا قاسم کہہ دینا دادی زہرا سے فروان کہا بیٹا قاسم کہہ دینا دادی زہرا سے غربت کی کمائیں ٹکڑوں میں غربت کی کمائیں ٹکڑوں میں آئی ہے سجا کر ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر ہے قاسم وچھ رسیاں دے پابند ہوئی نہیں بہن غریب دبس کوئی وچھ رسیاں دے پابند ہوئی نہیں بہن غریب دبس کوئی ہوندے ہاتھ آزاد تے مر جاندی ہوندے ہاتھ آزاد تے مر جاندی تیرا ماتم کر کر ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر ہے قاسم ہر ساتھ محرم کو مہندی تیری یاد میں قاسم اٹھتی ہے ہر ساتھ محرم کو مہندی تیری یاد میں اٹھتی ہے قاسم دولہا دولہا قاسم دولہا 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 قاسم دولہا ہوتا ہے لبوں پر ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے تھے ہے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے تھے ہے قاسم محمد وآل محمد
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Many thanks for your time. Again, do you want to describe just very briefly what the poem is?
Can I give you the translation of one of the paragraphs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last paragraph, ہر ساتھ محرم کو مہندی, every 7th of Muharram, ہر ساتھ محرم کو مہندی تیری یاد میں قاسم اٹھتی ہے. Every 7th Muharram, there's a pattern that women do on the mehndi. Yeah. And then every 7th of Muharram, the memory of mehndi
is the memory of you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Should I tell you the other lines?
Please, yeah.
हर साथ मुहर्रम को मेहंदी तेरी याद में उठती है कासिम दूल्हा दूल्हा कासिम दूल्हा. That is groom Qasim groom.
Okay.
Yeah. दूल्हा दूल्हा कासिम दूल्हा होता है लबों पर है कासिम. There's a you will always be remembered, Qasim.
Okay, mashallah. Inshallah, he's remembered in your heart, and your heart, Hussein Teft, and your heart, Sayhan Jatta. Thank you so much for all three of you for joining us on this special show dedicated to Al-Qasim, the son of Imam Al-Hassan alayhi salam. I know after today's show, you not only have the insights, but you'll also have the eulogies and the poetry to go alongside that, in order to learn a lot more about Al-Qasim al-Hassan, but also connect with him on an emotional level as well. That's it for today's episode. Inshallah, we'll see you in the next episode commemorating Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam. Inshallah, we'll see you then. Wassalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.